Welcome to another review video on my channel. And if you follow my channel, probably you remember that I had a live stream of this Napcat W2 outdoor Wi-Fi security camera. And that was already quite a few, probably about a month ago, I think, to be honest. And I had some issues setting up this camera, so it took me a little bit more time to get this thing up and running. But now I have got this working, and it's been up for the last about like 3 weeks now. So I have a lot of footage, a lot of experience how it works, well, based on these 3 weeks. So I thought it's time to make this review video. Just to summarize the features of this camera. So as I said, it is an outdoor camera. It has a Wi-Fi connection. So you can see the two Wi-Fi antennas. I think it looks really, really cute. So that's probably the first thing that caught my eye when I looked at the listing initially. And it has HD, well, slightly higher resolution than HD recording. It has two-way audio. It has a spotlight. It has AI image detection, so it can detect a person or a vehicle. And it has a lot of interesting features, as in creating obviously these motion recordings and having a siren deterrent or a flashlight when motion is detected. So it's the things that nowadays you expect from a security camera. I think it has all these features. And I was also surprised that the application that it uses is very well built. It's snappy, it's quick. The motion detections are always on spot, so it starts the recording as I sort of like move into the frame. It doesn't have a lot of false recordings, and it just seems to be a very good looking solid camera. And I looked at the listing on the Amazon at the moment, and it sells for $20, which I think is a really good deal. I mean, maybe it was 40 before. The Napcat website is sort of like, it feels like that it's built in, well, the work in progress, because some of the links are not working. And actually I just checked it now, and I could not find this camera, but I could find some other cameras. So maybe they are just pushing some of the new products out on their website. And before I continue, maybe I'm just going to address the elephant in the room, because in my live video, I failed to sync or failed to set up this camera on my Android phone. So I was in lengthy discussion with the manufacturer. So they suggested me a couple of things, how I can resolve it, and I can create a report, which from the application you can create a feedback, and you can attach a log that, the application creates a log in itself, like, what has gone wrong. And based on that, they told me that they have updated the firmware on the device. Well, it looks like that they are updating the firmware on the device that they are shipping out from now. But before I got this confirmation, I had the idea that maybe the issue is either with Android or with my phone. And I also have an iPhone as a company phone. So I set up the Napcat app on the iPhone. I did the pairing or the initial setup of the device, and it just worked just like that. So there was no issues at all. So once I managed to set up the camera on the iPhone, I had access to that same camera on my Android phone as well, and I could use the Android phone just to do all the features. And so everything was working. And I do the review on this on my Android phone, so you can see that in the rest of the video. So that was something that I wanted to get out in the sake of completeness, so I can sort of like tie to that previous live video, which sort of ended unexpectedly. So now, before I look at the actual app and how the functionality works, just quickly want to mention what you are getting in the box when you buy this product. And I mean, yeah, you are getting obviously the camera, and you are getting a adapter. So obviously this is just a regular, let me just check. It's a 12 volt 1 amp adapter. So mine comes with a European plug. So if you buy this in the US, most probably then they would supply the one with the US plug. And actually on the camera, you just find a typical barrel jack. So if you already have, if you want to run your own installation all you need basically is just like a 12 volt. So maybe you can get 12 volt from, you know, PoE with a step down converter. So you don't necessarily have to have to use this adapter, but I was using that so I could just run an extension cable to like a test place where I mounted the camera. So the camera itself, I think it is quite small. I really like this whole design of this, you know, these ears and this rounded, very basic but sort of like modern shape. You have the camera on the top, you have the camera on the front, microphone, IR, LED, and the spotlight. I think I didn't mention, but this does two-way audio, but it seems to be the standard nowadays. And it has a very easy mounting option. So you have this base that you can unscrew. So this comes completely off, and that's, you have some mounting holes. I think there were some screws included in the package as well. And basically when you unscrew this bottom part, the whole thing becomes loose. So you just set your camera to the angle that you want, obviously when this is mounted to the wall, and then you tighten this collar basically, and that fixes the camera. So mounting is very easy. And after that, you just plug it in. And in general, I think the application is also well designed and includes a lot of hints and small pictures or animation. So the setup process is also fairly easy. And the whole process follows the usual setup process where you you will set the camera into pairing mode, then you start a pairing, and the phone would connect to the Wi-Fi network that is the access point, which is created by the camera, so you can set up the Wi-Fi credentials. One additional thing is that this has the camera has a door. If you unscrew these two screws, then you can install a micro SD card, and then that's where you can create the recordings locally. At the moment, there is not even a cloud recording option available in the application, which I think I like because, if I can store it free locally, I would always prefer that option. Although I have seen some mentions on the web page for some cloud and account and that sort of stuff, so maybe this is something which is coming in the future as well. So I think this should be enough for an introduction for this camera. So let's see how the app works, and I will take you through the general working, how you can access the camera, what the application features look like, and also how you can review your motion recordings. Okay, so actually let's look at how this camera performs. And so the camera is already mounted outside, so I'm just going to use this image in the background. And actually I wanted to get the product details from their webpage, but this link is just not working. I cannot get to the main product. I can select outdoor cameras, and there is one, and I click learn more and nothing happens. But it's the same if I select any other products. So yeah, there is an R1, learn more, nothing happens. So anyway, let's use the Amazon listing. So this is the Napcat application, and just a quick view how it looks like. So on the main page, you get a view of your cameras. I have only one, so I have one. I had to give it a name, so I given it front door. It's not really front door, but anyway. So I can click on this, and I get a live view of the image, and I can stop, and then that's just the main operation, how you can quickly get a review. So this is your home page. And you can go over to the messages, and that's where you get all the notifications. So at the moment, pretty much all my settings are set to default, and it's been set to default for a long time now. And you can see how I get all these notifications, and then it basically tells you whether this notification was like a person detection or it was a vehicle detection. So for example, here you can see that, oh, these are the gardeners. Okay, so they were around, so obviously that was a pedestrian. And then let's see a vehicle example. Yeah, so that's definitely a vehicle. I have seen some sort of like false things where if there is a vehicle parked in the background and but a person walks by, it still says that this is a vehicle detection. But as you can see, it's it sees the vehicle, part of the vehicle in the background, so it says it's a vehicle detection. Although it was just me coming out in the evening. So yeah, but other than that, you know, it works great. I get a notification, yeah, when you know, people are moving by. So this one was you know, a lot of us were moving along. Maybe the car wasn't that relevant in this picture, so it was detected as a person notification. But I can go back in time, and then, you know, I can go back and then look at a lot of these you know, detections. So this was somewhere in the evening. I think it was switching between infrared and night vision and daytime. So there are a few of them where it's like a false alarm, but normally it just works. You know, I walk by, it records it, and as you can see, the whole video clip gets recorded. So I think, as I said previously, yeah, that's the audio. So as I said previously, I think the detection, how it clips the recording to show the entire movement and the entire detection works very well. And you can have some things here. So let's say you know, well, if I have multiple devices, I can just limit them, that if I want a you know, a notification only from a certain device. Funny that I can't really limit based on the detection type. Like I only want, let's say, vehicle notification to be shown. And going back to the main screen, you also have some stuff here, your account settings, your album, shared devices. Yeah, album is just basically something that you save on your phone instead of the SD card, which is in the device. And then of course you can share the device. You can look at the device that are shared to you and, you know, help about feedback. One thing I got, you see, when I had to do a feedback, you can include the application logs. So the app logs its stuff. So when something goes wrong, at least that log can be sent to the developers for, I guess, some debugging purposes. Also, if I finish on the top of the phone, so you have the add button here. So this is where you can add a new device, which starts with the scanning of the QR code. And you also have a little bit of a help, which I guess goes to a website with, yeah, user manuals and Q&A and that sort of stuff. Okay, also on the top, we have 3 buttons. We have this Z symbol, and that just turns on the do not disturb mode. So you can just temporarily disable all the notifications. So let's say you are going out, or you know that there are a lot of people moving around. You don't want to disable notification for each camera separately. You can just, you know, disable all of them, and then you can just re-enable them. And you can change the view to show more or less cameras, and you can also change the order. So it doesn't make a huge difference for me because I have one camera anyway. And we already seen that if I click on the plus button, then I can do like a preview, and I can enable the audio here. I can do this, and then it goes to full screen on a portrait mode. Sorry, on a landscape mode. And that's it. And then if I click on this open button, then this is where I can get into the full settings of the screen. So I have a couple of more options here. So this is where I can change the stream, whether it's standard definition, high definition, again, enable, disable the audio, and the privacy mode, which basically just blanks the screen. I'm not really sure why that is. I mean, that would blank the recordings as well. So maybe if you want to blank the recording for whatever reason, then you can enable this privacy mode. And you have the, just looking at the buttons on the, at the bottom of the screen. So you have snapshot and record. So that would be stuff that you are recorded on your phone. And you can do the speak as well. Because I'm doing the screen recording, this never really works. But you can just, you know, click here. Oops. Yeah, microphone is unavailable because I'm doing the screen recording. But you press here, you can talk, and that it picks up the you know, the speaker, which is built into the camera. And you can do the alarm. So that's basically just sounds the alarm. And then you can enable the flashlight, which is not going to make a huge difference now because it's daytime, but that just activates the small lamps on the camera. And actually, because it's mounted outside, I can just directly see the camera and the light is on. And you can mirror the image if it's mounted upside down or sort of like a right side left. Yeah. Okay, and then in the playback is pretty much the same what what we have seen before. And as you can see, yeah, okay. So I have all the recording here from March as well. So initially I had, I think the camera, yes, I had the camera mounted in my storage room, and you can see that it works well as well there. And again, it, you know, I guess maybe it detects the motion here, but then it adds another couple of seconds of recording before that. So you get the whole thing captured, which is quite nice. So this now definitely has all the motion recordings since I installed it. And I sort of expected that, because these, you know, few seconds of clips really don't take a lot of space on the SD card. So you can see I'm moving in and out, and my wife was looking for something, and then it's again her, and that's me again. Yeah, and this is when I was mounting the camera on the first day. So you can really see that it does all these recording and triggering very well. Everything is captured, as I said. So I really have no issues how this functionality works. I think it works rather good for this, you know, fairly budget camera. Okay, so this is all, you know, the live recording and the playback covered. So let's look at the settings. So we have a device name that you can rename, obviously, and you have some time settings. So I set my time zone. You can set up whether you want a logo and a timestamp as a watermark, and then a storage. Oh, as you can see, 6% of the 64 gig memory card used, and I had it up for about a month now. So I guess in general use, 1 month is about 6% of, well, how much was that? It's 3.5 gigs of, you know, small clips of recordings. And so here the device, you can see that the firmware version, this is what I said, is 1.0.0. So it doesn't look like it has updated the firmware. And if I click on this, it says there's nothing updated, but I'm assuming that whatever you would receive would have the new firmware in it. And okay, let's look at the interesting stuff. So motion detection. There is not an awful lot that you can configure, but as I said, even with the default settings, it seems to be doing a very decent job of actually, you know, capturing or recording meaningful motion instead of just, you know, things that are moving around and leaves are blowing in the wind. So you can enable the motion detection. You can do an activity zone, so you can just restrict the part of the image to detect motion. As you can see, for me, the whole image is actually activated for motion. And yeah, so this is what I have done. So I have taken off all motion, and basically I've just done vehicle and pedestrian. So it means that if it detects any other motion, maybe even pets going around or just general, you know, leaves blowing around in the wind, it's not going to detect, because it won't see either a person or a vehicle in the frame. And of course, if I enable all motion, then I would probably get a lot more recordings as well. But I feel that it actually, you know, with these AI motion enabled, it actually detects all the sort of the meaningful motion whenever there is a person or a vehicle. I think we have probably seen 1 or 2 clips where it seemed to have detected nothing. Maybe there was just a sudden movement, but there was like a car in the background, and that's sort of detected as a vehicle motion, as even though the motion was related to something else, but there was a vehicle on the image. Sensitivity, that's set to default to 5. Of course, you can just move this up and down based on your, you know, if you feel that you are missing something, then you can just increase the sensitivity. And of course, you can do the record and the deterrence. I think I probably configured the deterrence somewhere else, because I'm not getting siren or anything like that. But that's something that I usually don't want anyway. So I can switch it off here as well. And then the sound detection. So I have turned this off. I haven't really played with this, but again, you can maybe if you have the camera mounted inside, and then you only turn off the recording whenever you leave the house, maybe you can also trigger it to some, you know, sharp sound, you know, maybe a window being broken or something like that. But I don't really use sound detection very often, to be honest. I heard that some people use the sound detection when they are using it as a baby monitor. But but Natcap has an indoor cameras that is probably better suited for this type of purposes, but you can use this indoors as well, no problem at all. So deterrence, okay, so that's why it's actually not deterring, because this is the main settings for the deterrence, and everything is turned off. So you can have a light and a siren, and you can also specify the interval and also the schedule. So actually, if you enable just a light in a deterrence, and let's say for a specific duration, then you can also use this as a motion activated light, which is it's not a bad idea. Like it's going to illuminate the area when you are passing by, and that maybe in the beginning that's also good, because it also gives you a visual feedback of how often it actually detects motion. So actually, on retrospect, I think I'm going to leave this on, and maybe have the light on for half a minute once it detects motion. If you enable the sound, maybe you can increase this time interval as well, so you don't get this too often if you have too many detections. Okay, so that's that's nice feature. Okay, so that's saved. Yeah, I can do the schedule as well. Maybe I'm not going to do it now, but again, for the light, if I want this to be a motion activated light, maybe I can just set a general schedule of to be done in the evening. So yeah, warm white, and then actually this schedule is fine. So between 7 and 6. I think that's sort of okay for the current time of the day. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Next one is continuous recording. So I have disabled this, but you can enable continuous recording as well. Of course, with the 64 gig SD card, I haven't really tested this, but then again, how much you can record is pretty much going to be limited. So maybe it's going to be done to, it probably does a really good compression, but on a 64 gig card on my dash cam, I can record about 5 hours of video. So it would be good enough to just record everything that happened, let's say when you are at work. But if that wouldn't be suitable for a longer holiday when you are away for days, because the card is just not going to be enough. So this is why on local recording I don't enable this continuous recording. But as you can see, you can again set some schedules for that. So maybe if you want to have recording overnight, you can do that, and then if anything happened overnight, and you have time in the morning to review the footage. Audio settings, yeah, you can see that these are the various settings here for the recordings, and then this image stabilization, so this wide dynamic range on off. So I have this turned off, but to be honest, I think the recordings are pretty good already. You have seen the sample footages in the beginning of the video. Daytime footage is really nice. Nighttime footage is really nice. So I don't feel like that I want an extra, dynamic range. Maybe if you are mounting this in a camera where there is a lot of sunshine, sunlit and shaded areas, you can use this to bring some of the shaded areas a little bit, make them a little bit brighter, but I don't really need that. Night vision mode, I always set it to automatic. You can set it to smart as well, and of course that you can use it in conjunction with the spotlight, but I don't really like that. So I usually leave it on automatic. And anyway, I think if you enable the strobe, and if the flashlight, if the flashlight gives enough illumination, it will switch back to color mode anyway, video automatic mode. So privacy, yeah, you can add privacy zones, so you can black out certain parts of the image if you want that, and there is an auto maintenance as well, so that just basically restarts the device every 7 days at between 2 and 4 a.m. If it gets stuck for any reason, then it just reboots, and you can, I don't know, reconnect the Wi-Fi network, that sort of stuff. I never had any issues with this, so I think this is probably the standard settings, and I haven't really changed that. And you can also change the Wi-Fi here, and you have a little bit of mounting guide, which is basically just a piece of the documentation, how you can use this device. And yeah, you can delete and restart. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So the only other thing which I think I wanted to mention, I'm not sure if I did that. Oh no, I definitely didn't do that. But I also like the fact that the, this download functionality is right here on the main screen, because it just makes it so much easier to download footage from your camera, from the camera down to your phone. I have seen other cameras and other mobile applications where this function was much less useful. It was a lot clunkier to use. They were trying to make it a little bit more difficult for you to use it, and trying to access the recordings over the cloud where you have to pay for that. There is none of these nonsense here in this Napcat app, or at least not at the moment. So I definitely like that. And I think with this, we pretty much get to the end of the, the review of the app. It has all the features that I want, and with the fact that the camera pretty much works as you would expect based on these settings, I think there are no issues with this app and how it works. So in retrospect, I'm really happy with this camera. I think it is a really solid product based on how the application works, and how quick the application is. So actually, this is probably, if I want to add some more comments, the one thing I noticed that how easy it is to switch between recordings in the application, because sometimes when you look at recordings or the recorded footages, you click and then it takes some time for that to come from the SD card, which you can install in this unit. So, and here everything was really quick. The other thing I've also noticed that I had some internet issues during this period, and I still had my wireless network working, but I didn't have an active internet connection. And during that period, when I was at home and my phone was still connected to that Wi-Fi network, I would still get the notification. So it looks like that when you are on the same network, then your phone is talking to the camera directly instead of the cloud. So that probably explains why the the application was so swift. I also mentioned previously that I'm very happy with how accurate the AI motion detection is. And I have only seen a couple of examples where it would create a false motion detection, or basically a recording where nothing really happens. So there are some cases where there is like a big movement in the picture, like there was a strong wind, and like I think there was some debris flying out, and so that obviously created a motion trigger for the camera. And if there was for example, a car, I had my car parked on the driveway, so that was in the view. So then the camera considered that as a vehicle detection, even though the vehicle was not moving, it was just in the frame. So I had a few of these, but I don't think that they were significant enough to, really take away the fact that it is working correctly in so many of the other cases. And in general, in terms of the image quality, I think I've included enough indoor and outdoor footage, daytime and nighttime footage, so you could see those, as I was talking about the camera and some of the things that happened in the past. And I think this concludes the review of this Napcat W2 outdoor Wi-Fi camera. If you like this product, I'm going to leave purchasing links in the video description. But I think that should be all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you next video.